Our wonderful panelists today have created a freebie guide for you. So once Kayla can get the screen working, we have a QR code for you to scan and get that document. But we're gonna go ahead and get started because I know all of you have lots of important things to do this afternoon, so we want to make sure we respect your time. First, I want to say thank you to Taryn, Madison, and Shanice for doing this panel today. I think this idea got started in a small group where they were talking about social media strategies that were working for them in their business. And Madden said, hey, would you do a class on it? So here we are. They had a meeting last week and helped formulate some of the questions to make sure that what you're getting out of today is stuff you can implement. We have handed out the 10-5-1-1s. So if you work in the 11 o'clock, I'll just pass this around if everybody could take one. Just remember, as you're taking notes, take down your top 10 takeaways, break those down to the 5 things you want to implement, down to the one thing that you think is going to make the biggest impact to grow your business. And then most importantly, what is the one step you're going to take in the next 24 hours? So what we've learned with teaching classes, it's education is pure entertainment if you don't implement anything. We don't want today to be entertainment, although we want it to be fun. We want to make sure that it does help you grow your business. And if you don't take an action in the next 24 hours, you're least likely to actually make any of this stuff happen. Okay, so I'm going to pass these around. Kim, we're going to start with you. Thank you so much. And then we'll go ahead and get started. I think everybody knows who our panelists are, so I think we can skip introduction. But we'll start with the first question, which is why do you choose the content that you do? And where do you get ideas to create that content? We can start with Taryn. She closes.
I hope I heard. So why do I do the, I know we're gonna talk about the guide and what goes into that, but ultimately considering who I'm talking to, and what is important to them and what would be valuable to them. So coming from value is the priority. And getting ideas for that, for me personally, this is a lot of what I do is like taking questions I get on a daily basis from the people I'm talking to, funny things that I come across, or just little like conversations I'm having with people. They all kind of inspire those pieces of content. Admittedly, I'm not super well like thought out and planned, like maybe Shanice might be, but a lot of it's just daily inspiration from the interactions I'm having with the client. So everything is super tailored to them.
I love that.
Max, agreed. Anything that I get like via DM or question, I can sometimes spin that into content. For example, I always want to make sure I'm talking to someone specific when I go to film a video, because if I'm not, then I end up filming it like 20 different times. So my ideal client is first-time home buyers and investors. That's who I usually speak to when I'm making my content. So videos are tailored to what grant programs you can get, how to save up for a down payment. This is different loan types like FHA, and I make that content because those are the people that I want to work with. And not saying you can't work with anyone. I can work with any clients that come my way, but I want to tailor my social media to someone specific.
I love that. And I'm just going to take some notes over here, Shanice.
So I speak directly to my ideal client, and that's how I get my content. I figure out what the problems that they need solved, and then that's how I come up with the content. I do plan it out, usually just like a week or so in advance. I try to do it a month in advance, but that doesn't usually work out. Where I get ideas also is from just scrolling on Instagram and getting inspiration from other agents and other markets.
Perfect. And what platforms are you doing your research on?
TikTok is where all the trends are first. So I go on TikTok and Instagram.
Okay. All right.
Instagram is mainly where I focus, and I have different folders, so you can click the little bookmark button at the bottom to save stuff that you like. And not saying I steal the content, but I use it as inspiration and put my own spin on it.
Quite frankly, I don't actually have a lot of like, I don't gather information from any other sources. Like I'm trying to think organically as much as possible. That probably is a little more time consuming that maybe isn't beneficial. So do use your resources, but if I'm being honest, it's mainly just from what I'm gathering from clients.
So the typical questions that you're getting on a regular basis.
Or what they're laughing at a showing, or what we're, you know, the things that we're experiencing in the market or things like that. So it's pretty different.
I love that. And what platform do you typically utilize?
Oh, Facebook. And that's, I think if we're asking like, where should you be? I use Instagram and Facebook. I cross post to both, but I feel like if you try to do everything, you're gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
Or you're probably just gonna get overwhelmed and be like, why am I doing this? So wherever you are and your demographic of people that you're trying to reach, just use that. Like, you don't have to do it all. You're not gonna succeed if you try to do it all. So
And I love that. And I think that goes back to who is your ideal client? Where are they typically, like us older millennials, we're still on the FB, right? And then some of the younger generations, they're more prevalent on Instagram. So that's a big consideration to take in. Shannon,
And you're using personal pages or business pages or both?
for the question.
Personal, yeah, so on Facebook, you can now become like an, I think it's an influencer.
creator.
Yeah, so I'm using strictly that. I have a business Facebook page, but it just doesn't get any traction.
Yeah. If you do the creator, you can cross post too.
And I think they elect you, like they choose, they'll say you're eligible to be a creator, based on, I actually don't know what that's based on, because I did not have a lot of followers, and I still don't, but when I started that, I did quickly discontinue my business page though, because I found that my posts were falling completely flat on that page, but on my personal page, which is my brand, the page was doing, like, the posts were doing so much better, so definitely like focusing on personal, I think. Thanks. And also complying with the guidelines too.
I love that. Little like TCPA.
I think if you go in like professional dashboard, you can see if you're eligible on Facebook.
Thank you.
And I'll add into that, your business page, like I keep mine active so I can run ads if I want to. But really the engagement is on the personal pages. So I've got stuff on my business page because I have to per se. And I keep it active for that option if I ever want to run ads, but at the end of the day, you'll see that I copy and paste everything onto my personal pages. How do you utilize your social media to stay top of mind with your database without coming across as salesy, which we all try to stay away from?
I guess I'll go first. Sharing my personal life, and bringing them in on that side of things. They like to see all the personal things. I actually get more engagement on that stuff than my business stuff, so that's how I make it not salesy. I kind of put or make it so that it's both things like real estate and personal.
How do you balance that? Like, do you have a strategy to that? I know this wasn't one of your questions, but it's something that I struggle with personally. Like, how do you balance, like, okay, I need to do a personal post on Wednesdays, or is it just in the moment kind of sharing?
So I kind of see what I have planned. But personal is usually on the fly. Like this past weekend, I had a post scheduled for Sunday. And because we went to Penn State, I would prefer to post that. So I canceled that post and posted about Penn State. So it just kind of goes with like what's going on in your life.
I love that.
I'd say a lot of my personal stuff is on my stories. And I don't plan as well as Shanice does. I kind of just do it. I do it on the fly. But yeah, personal, educational, and entertaining are the three things I try and like hit every week. So that way I'm not just posting, just sold, just listed, try and keep it real and raw. Show behind the scenes too.
I think for me, I try to, again, I'm just gonna keep saying this, but come from value. So if it's not valuable, I'm not posting it. Like, and it could be entertainment value, it could be educational value, like you're talking about. Or if it's personal, I'm all in, like I'm sharing that too. But to avoid being salesy, if you're just saying like, who do you know that can buy or sell, and sharing your just solds and all that, like that's exciting to you, but that's not valuable to the consumer. And like, we gotta get in our own little bubble as agents. That's like, well, so-and-so over here just posted all their 10 houses they sold this month, so I should post mine. And it's like, well, make sure you do that with purpose and like that it would provide some value, because it's like a little humble brag for what though? Like, Who cares about that?
Yes.
So, and I know we're gonna go further into like story and all that, so I won't share that now.
But no, that's super helpful, like, when you see the top 10 posts, right? Like, look at who's liking those posts. It's usually us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're cheerleading for each other, which is great, but it's not our clients at all. What types of content have you found to be the most effective in driving engagement and interest from potential clients?
Personal posts.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah, that gets the best engagement and it helps people feel like they know you and they can connect with you. I don't know, Brittany, do we have a question about stories? About how we got business from?
Yes.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we can jump right there. You don't have to go in order. This is
Okay.
your, this
Well,
is
then
your
I-
hand.
I have a story about how I got a $500,000 listing.
Yeah, let's jump there.
So I got a DM at like, at 10 o'clock at night. And I was like, it was really long, and I saw that she said that she wanted to sell her house, I was like, I need to look at this. And she was like, I've been following you for 2 years, I know a whole bunch of realtors, but I wanna use you because I feel like I know you and like we would get along. So I got, it was, what did we sell the house for? I think 550,000 straight from Facebook, and I never talked to her a day in my life.
I had someone else, similar story, reach out. It was a referral she wanted to give me, but she used to be a realtor, so she was in the industry. She knows so many people. There's so many other agents she could have connected her brother with. But she was like, I've been following you for over a year. I love your drive. I love what you do. I feel like I know you personally just from watching your videos, which can be a little creepy, but whatever. And so she set up a listing appointment for me to meet with her brother and ended up listing his house in Campbell.
This is something we all have in common, we didn't talk about that, but I think the fact that people come to us and say, I feel like I know you, like that is that's the goal. That's what you want. I feel like, you know, even when you're posting your personal stuff, you're not saying like, how am I gonna get a listing out of this at all? It's not that, it's completely authentic, but people are like, I feel like I know you, you're always consistent with your posts, like, they don't know if you're busy or not, they just know you're posting.
Yeah.
And so I think they're like, wow, I've got that exact same message, like, I'm choosing to work with you because you're driven, like, and you're consistent with your posts, and I feel like I know who you are, which I just was making a story before I came here to say, like, if you know me, you know this about me or whatever. And I'm thinking these people actually do kind of know me now. If they've been watching my stuff for a while, they do. And that's the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like I've had people walk in my open house and be like, oh my gosh, I follow you on Instagram. And then it's like, you
Yeah.
start off the conversation like that, it's so much more comfortable because they already kind of have a connection.
And talking on your stories, it's important. It's not comfortable for me to do it, but I do it because then people feel like, like we're just having a conversation. And then when they do come up to me and meet me, they feel comfortable because they've already felt like they talked to me.
Can you give an example of how you do that on your stories? I can come back to you if you need a minute. But yeah, like the conversational piece.
Just, it started honestly, like 5 years ago, just in the car, like I would just talk. I probably just rambled, I wouldn't say much of anything. But in the car, and then now if I just think of something, then I'll, you know, pop on my story and say something, but just try to put my voice on it.
Agreed, don't do it while you're driving though, because I do that and people slide up, they're like, "Look."
I mean, it's, you have, you know, you can have a car mount, you can be at a red light.
Yeah, I still get hate for that. My grandma slides up, she's like.
There was a question in
Oh,
the
I was just
room.
gonna ask, so does that mean all of your platforms are public?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, if they have to, you know, try to jump through hoops to try to see your
Yeah.
content, they're not gonna do it.
And I just want to say one thing about the public part of it. I know some people are uncomfortable with that, and it does take a little bit to like get used to that fact. But I don't get that many weird calls from people or like that many, like, do you guys get any? Once in a while I'll get like a DM from some, but like, I mean, you can see them.
For everywhere, I've gotten some weird fake FaceTime calls, but our phone number is.
Yes.
out there.
There, yeah. Okay.
You can create close friends too.
Oh, yeah,
If
that's.
there's something super, here's something super specific. But like that is a way, if you just don't want them to see everything. you
Yeah.
don't include them.
I was gonna say that I have close friends and I include, I think I have like 300 or 400 people in there. It's like select people.
Oh, I'm so pumped when I get a green notification. Yeah.
So I would suggest doing close friends, because that's where I post on, like, you know, just, I like to be pretty modest on my social media and not share too much. So I like to have the close friends so that I can, you know, go off. Not that I'm doing anything crazy, but,
Right, yeah, but some things are just more personal, I guess, than you want the whole world to see.
and my clients actually feel like super special, the ones that.
When they see that green.
Yeah.
I mean, he just
I
mentioned,
do.
he just mentioned.
Yeah.
I didn't know I was one of 300. 30. All right.
The MySpace top 10.
I know.
People then.
Yes.
No, I just wanted to say, you guys, first of all, I really appreciate you sharing all this, and you know I never take notes, and I'm taking notes. But I also want to say, I totally believe that people connect with you and therefore they love you and they want to use you, because I've had the opposite. I've had past clients contact me and go, I just gave you my name, your name to my sister, blah, 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 she needs one. And I call her like within seconds and she's like, you know, I've already got a realtor. And I was like, oh, great, how'd you meet him? And then when you dive down and you ask more questions, never met her. Met her on social media, been following her for 6 months, and now I think I have a relationship with her, so I'm gonna call her first. And I don't even get an interview. So the point is, do it. Absolutely do it, because, I mean, this is a tried and true referral from someone who has bought and sold houses with me. And I still lost, didn't get an opportunity.
And this wouldn't be in my nature if I didn't share something super transparent. If you're uncomfortable with yourself on camera, like probably, who's uncomfortable on camera? Okay, yeah, so use a filter if you need to. Like, I don't care, who cares? Use a stinking filter. If you don't like the way your teeth look on the camera, or you don't have good angles, like, or if you have a better angle, I literally sat on this side because this is my better angle. So if you know that about yourself, you just have to own it. Like, that's what you look like in real life anyway. Like, everyone sees you, but when you show up on camera, just don't watch the video. If you can't handle it, don't watch it. When I first started, I would record. I'd hit record and I'd be like, this is one take, dude. You got one take and you're not doing this again. And I would do it and just put it out. And I started with bomb videos that were just quick, and I couldn't stand the way that it felt when I looked at it. But if I sent it, my clients responded so well. So I was like, if you can just get past that first little thing that you have there, where it's like, oh, I don't like how my hair looks today, or just, I don't know, you're not gonna act if that's gonna hold you back. And I think a lot of people in this room are beyond like that initial step, but if that's holding you back, please don't let it be. Like, you show up in real life and people love you for who you are, so be a little on camera too.
And you're your worst critic.
Yeah.
Like, you are your worst critic. Most of the time, people don't notice whatever that teeth thing you got going on. Like, they're not paying attention to those things. So I love that.
Also, one more thing for
Yeah.
stories. When are you ever gonna get, like, let's just say you even get like 50 story views. When are you ever gonna get in front of that many people, like, every single day? So that's why I love stories, because you could talk to 100 people, 200 people, whatever.
Oh, and random other thing about stories, I usually, whenever I'm showing a house, I just snap a picture, either full kitchen, like inside, and I post it on my story to show that I'm out there and doing stuff. Full story, I had someone, a Facebook friend who I never talked to before, slide up and he was like, oh my gosh, this is my neighborhood. I've been wanting to buy a house. Like, I live here with my mom and I've been wanting to buy a house in the same neighborhood. So I ended up showing him that house, and then he ended up buying that house that I showed to another client and they didn't like. Just from that little like picture that I took out front.
So being in the moment, sharing the photo.
Which it's like a effort for me because I don't normally take pictures a lot. But you should see, I have like 50,000 pictures now, because I'm always like taking pictures of random stuff, so.
Are there rules about that? Just curious, because I think there are, but I
Do
don't.
you have to put, like, if you take a picture of someone
Listed
else's.
by,
That's all, that's the only rule.
that's
Exclusively
do.
listed by,
I can't speak to that.
so if if I'm doing a showing, I will do that. I'm not gonna just go to the house without asking them though. Like,
Yeah, not to take content, like I have a scheduled showing, the agent knows, and then I say listed by Remax.
But that, but
And
as
then
long
tag
as
the
you
agent if I
did
have.
that, you're okay.
We wanna
I
double
don't have
check
any
on.
issues. We
I
can
would-
ask for it.
I would double check, don't take my word for it.
So as your
Whatever
team
that says.
leader. Your team leader, you should get permission from the listing agent. If you can post your own photos of their property, like, hey, if I was gonna show a home, I could call Ben and say, hey, Ben, I'm showing a home today. Do you mind if I share a couple photos that I take at the showing on my social media, as long as I give you the listing credit? 90% of agents are okay with it, but it is courtesy to ask. And that's what I'll say. During.
If I could just double down on that, I think it's more the courtesy and the ethics. Because I don't really know what trouble you can get in being in a public space, at an open house, at a showing. Like, you're not saying, hey, this is my new listing, and lying. You're just saying, cool kitchen. I don't know what legal trouble you can actually get in, but more the ruffled feathers of, you're that agent that does this stuff, like that's, you don't wanna go down that road.
I've had clients that would say no. That's why I'm asking,
Yeah.
because I've had some clients that would say no.
So
So
I would say that,
I wouldn't care, but
I think it's more
know that
reputation,
there are some clients
honestly.
that would say no.
I would say if you don't want it, put it in the showing description too.
but also, I think if you work with a lot of different agents, you kind of know, like, if you've asked, can I do this for any of your listings? Like, most, they're gonna say, yeah.
And plus, if they see how well you promote.
Yeah.
Just yourself
Yeah.
on IG or social media,
Yeah.
they're going to say yes. Now, if you're just some random, and you
Unless-
do some
Unless
skeptical
the
thing.
client.
Unless
a
it's the
problem.
client, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's the client, like, I mean, I can name 5 of mine that would just like lose their freaking mind
Help
over
me
it.
understand why you would not want your house to be exposed by more people.
Because they're worried about the stuff that's in it, it could be cased, or, I mean, I'm just telling you what I've heard. I've had people say.
On the higher end stuff, I can be like, we wanted to show it to us.
But the pictures are already on the internet. I mean, it's already out there,
I know, but I'm just telling you. Maybe
So just ask.
Tracy had a question.
I do. So last year, Coach Kyle, I have conversations with myself in my head. It didn't take place. I don't mind being on camera, but how do you get, with me, I think, well, why do people care what I have to say? How did you get over that?
Yeah, that, what Erica said, but
Can you
I
say
just
it?
don't
Can
think
you repeat what she said?
imposter
Because
syndrome.
I couldn't hear it.
I honestly just don't even, I just don't even think like that anymore, because I'm like, even if I just talk to one person and they, listen, I don't care, because they don't have to watch your content.
So that never entered your mind?
What are you envisioning?
Mm-mm.
Because I think you might be envisioning somebody that's judging you instead of the people that you're helping. So
Yeah.
if you think of who are you talking to, like who's your ideal client and who could you help? Like, I saw this concept before that was amazing. It was like a cook on a cooking show that the person was like, who are you thinking about when you're cooking this meal? Because her personality just fell flat as soon as she started. And the person's like, my dad. And she's like, oh, well, that's weird. And she like, the lady, the coach was like, okay, well, I don't understand this. And she goes away and comes back and says, what kind of relationship do you have with your dad? And she said he wanted me to be a doctor. And so she's a chef. So she's talking to this person who she is disappointed. And so I think if you think about who you're talking to, like, if you're a chef talking to the person who is gonna burn their dinner on a first date if you don't help them, like, this is important. What you have to say is valuable. You have tons of experience and you just need to be talking to the people who will see that as valuable. So I think just picture them, if you really, when the second your camera goes up, you're at a consultation with these 2 buyers or whatever, or the seller, and they need you. That's how you get over that, I think. It's just, like, when I started video, I always pictured this one agent who like bombed, she was with it, she was 15 years in when I had 6 months and I was like, what, she's gonna see this and I'm gonna look so stupid. And then I'm like, but I'm not talking to her. Like, you gotta figure out who you're talking to and they'll feel valuable.
Go ahead,
So I'm gonna double down on Shanice's story because she probably doesn't even know this, but that listing she got via social media, never met the person. I knew her for a long, long time. And I sold my own personal house for top dollar and I did all the stuff right. But she got it because of her personality, because she leveraged the one thing
Nice.
that I wasn't doing. So she got it because she was like, well, I know exactly how this transaction is gonna go because I watch her stories every day and I know what kind of person she is. And I'd grown up with her, but we lost contact and things like that, but it's a super easy way to just.
She thinks highly of you.
But like, I wasn't leveraging the only thing that was proprietary to me, because we all take the same pictures, we all do the same like branding, but I wasn't using my personality, like Shanice was.
People crave connection, like it is a human instinct to crave connection. And vulnerability, being your authentic self, helps build that connection. And I think that just like what Ben said, when you go on a listing appointment, oftentimes our listing presentations are all kind of similar. Our marketing is all kind of similar, but they're gonna choose you because of you and who you are. So if they can get to know you more often and see you on social media, that'll help you compete, if you will. Versus, like, if you're Ben versus Shanice back then, if Ben wasn't putting himself out there, but Shanice was, even though this person knew Ben's work ethic and that he's very capable of getting the job done, she built that relationship with Shanice through vulnerability.
And you don't have to like go crazy with it, you can just like their posts, comment back to their stories,
I
like
didn't even
do
know we were
small
friends.
stuff.
I didn't even know we were friends.
Yeah, well, but I mean, like, that's like, I mean, there was obviously, she could have gone with a lot of agents,
Oh
but
my
she
God.
wanted to
she
go to
knew
somebody she,
half the agents of this brokerage.
yeah, she wanted to go to somebody she knew how she would interact with every day.
Kim, you had a question too.
Well, it was actually more of a comment about Tracy's question. And it's, I think when we have that kind of doubt, we're focusing more on ourselves than we are on the people that we're serving. And if we stop take the focus off of ourselves and like Taryn was saying, put it on other people that we're serving, things will happen, things will flow. And the thing is, you're very successful. People love you. Your people that you work with love you, Tracy, don't they?
I don't know why.
They really do.
But to be fair, even like, you go on silly, people want to work with you just because they like your personality.
Right, they know that you're strong, they know that you get the job done, they respect you and appreciate you, your people love you. And so that tells me that you have a lot to offer. And if you focus on that part of it and take yourself out of the equation.
Thank you. I love that.
Very well.
Speaking of telling stories, how do you incorporate storytelling into your social media? And you can go in whatever order you're comfortable with.
Well, for example, like instead of just posting the basic just sold, I'll get on, pick up my camera and take a video and share a story. Obviously, get the client's approval first. But share a client win or share an awesome story that you had. Gets a lot more engagement than just a typical just post.
Also, so my ideal client is a move-up buyer, so talking about how I got them through that process is something that I like to talk about because people think they can't do it. So that's again, talking to your ideal client, so sharing those types of stories, so I may not share how, I helped an investor because that's not my ideal client, but I will share how I helped a move-up buyer. And not saying I won't work with investors, like Maddie said earlier, I just am focused on the specific line type.
Do you mind, I'm gonna skip ahead for a second and then we'll come back, but because we're here, how did you pick your niche? Like, how did you decide, I'm gonna focus on move-up buyers, I'm gonna focus on first-time home buyer and investors, and you're focusing right now on sellers, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so how did you come to that conclusion? Because it is so much easier to have a focus versus trying to talk to everybody.
So at first, when first started, it was just first time home buyers and investors just kind of fell into my lap. And then I was like, you know, getting more busy and trying to figure out, okay, how can I make the most of my time? And I did one deal that was buy and sell, and I was like, I like this. How do I work, how do I work more with these people? And then just started, you know, speaking directly to them, and I think you just have to figure out who do you like to work with? You have to go back, and this will be in the guide that we have, but you have to go back to like your favorite client that you ever worked with and figure out what type of buyer that was or seller, and then that's how I picked my deal client.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say QR code is up, so if you want that free guide that they created, just go ahead and scan that a while.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you, Shanice.
But. Yeah, my ideal client right now is a first time home buyer, just where I'm at in my career. I feel like I can add the most value to those people. And I know a lot about great grant programs, and I post a lot on social media about how to become a home buyer. And that's, I'd say, probably like 40 to 50% of my business is first time home buyers right now. So that's who I decided to focus on.
Was the question, yeah, how we got our focus? Yeah, so, I think a lot of, for me, it came down to like what works for my schedule. I have 4 kids and a busy life, and so listings are my focus. But as far as like coming up with my ideal client, I thought, I think a lot of people, it's like our own person, like it's similar to us. If you think about your ideal client, like you would probably be a move up buyer, right? Like you buy something, that's what you do.
Yeah,
right?
also another thing that you're saying, I work with a lot of single moms too, that I was a single mom. So like, it's not just like move up buyer, it's like that type of person, like is it a male, is it a female, how old are they? What do they like to do? And the person that me and Ben keep talking about, Sarah, her and I are very similar, so it makes sense.
And that reminds me of the Roy Vaden quote, you can typically serve who you once were.
Did it say that?
Yeah.
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 Sorry, are we still?
I thought I cut you off.
Oh,
So I'm so sorry.
no, it's okay. I don't think I had any more to add, so we're good.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. A couple questions that you had, that I think would be very helpful for the room. I know some of the stuff you're doing is in the moment, but how do you stay consistent in maintaining that social media presence, and how do you manage that schedule?
We both knew that Shanice was gonna answer this.
Yeah.
No, Maddie's really
No
good at
pressure.
this too.
She's the reason why I got my mojo back, because I got into a phone. But I try to plan, like, I'll try to have like, maybe like 3 or 4 reels like queued up. To just do, and then I do things in the moment sometimes, but I mean, I don't have like a full content schedule. I just have like an idea bank of things that I want to post, and then I'll try to make sure that I get that content. And when I do have free time, edit it and have it ready to go.
So it sounds like you have some stashed content.
Yes, we'll have the stash content. I do like to post every single day, and one thing that I guess we did a content day that helped.
Yeah, do you want to jump into that, and then we can come back to repurposing content? Yeah, so talk about your content days. How did you get that started? How does it
We just
help
did a
you?
first one. We went to a model home and took a bunch of B-roll content. Did a few talking videos, I think you did. I just mainly did, yeah, Ben did too. He had really good ideas. If you
Yeah.
want anyone to take videos for him,
Our
it's
social media.
Yeah.
so creative. So yeah, now I just have a ton of videos in my bank to post whenever I want. Just add text over top and B-roll and trending sounds, and that's what does well for me.
I was doing the content days, I guess, like by myself. It's not as fun. But I would just get permission from another agent to go like, to the house, to do like the video tour, and get like the content that we got that day. But it's just fun to team up with other agents so then we can film each other and then get ideas from each other.
Yeah, I love that's the power of collaboration, and then it's time saving, like if you're time blocking time to just knock out content, it's a lot easier to then schedule it as you have time, once you've got a stash of content. I mean, I've got Ben and Nate in the room, but it's like, you can't have too much content prepared. Because you never know when you might need it, especially if you've had a little bit of a lull, like maybe you were on vacation or you were sick for a little bit. You can use that old stuff and reuse it, or just bring it out for the first time that you've got in Google Drive somewhere. How do you repurpose your content?
I don't.
I just go back in my folder, like I have a folder, I have folders like in my iPhone and then in Instagram and in Facebook too. And I just like go back to it sometimes, because sometimes like the content that I did before, I'm like, wow, this is really good. Like, I'm just gonna reuse the whole thing. Like, you have to think, people aren't gonna go back and look at your content from like a year ago or, you know, even a week ago. So you can repost exactly what you posted.
I would add to that too, like not everyone sees your posts.
Right.
So you could post it this week and post it again next week, and a totally different audience might see it. So paying attention to like what did well, just reusing it again later, saves you a lot of time and headache.
So if I'm repurposing, it's usually like a video I did years ago that I'm embarrassed that I posted, and I'm keeping that in the archives, still on Instagram, but, like, I'll just repurpose like the content, not the video itself, I'm not resharing it. I'll re-record it and kind of polish it a little bit, just do things a little better since I know better, years later, but that's like the only way I'm really repurposing.
What tools are you to go to?
Like for editing, or I edit everything in Instagram.
Okay.
CapCut, I edit in Instagram sometimes, but it glitches and I don't have time for that. So I'll go to CapCut, so I will use Canva sometimes, like for like, text and stuff. But that's really it.
I highly recommend Metricool for those that wanna like schedule out. The negative side is for Facebook, it only goes to your business page. So then you gotta take that extra step of like copying and pasting. But I personally have found Metricool really helpful for just being able to plan ahead. Especially when you're gonna be traveling, it can just post for you, you know what's going on. So that's another really great tool.
You can schedule on Instagram too. If you have your Instagram and Facebook linked, then it will automatically post to your Facebook.
Now, this sounds ridiculous when I have as few followers as I do, but does scheduling actually hurt your ability to, like the algorithm, to get it out to more people?
I've tried not scheduling and I've gotten the same. I think it's what you do when you post. Like, you have to be in the app when you post. So like, I know that when I schedule a post, that I need to be in the app like 10-15 minutes before and 10-15 minutes.
And you need to be like liking stuff and doing your stories, engaging. Yeah, that helps the algorithm. But for me, I think, scheduling on third-party apps hurts my engagement, because I did that for a while. If you're scheduling through Instagram, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because Instagram wants you to be on their platform for as long as possible. So whoever is using their app to edit, schedule, all those things, they're gonna push your content more. That's just what I found.
And when you do a post on Instagram, a reel versus a story are two different things. So do you duplicate it?
I share the real.
I share, yeah.
You share the reel to your story. Okay, thank you.
So real story, and there's also feed, right? Do you guys prefer any one of the three?
Reels.
Prefer
I think reels.
Yeah.
If
Real
you
good
go
to your
for-
feed.
Carousel posts have been doing decent as well for me.
I think we may need a whole separate platform.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a
Um,
lot.
Speaking of engagement, how do you keep up when you're getting comments on your posts? Like, how do you find time to respond to comments? Do you engage with people who just liked it and didn't comment? Like, what do you do? The post is out there, then what?
I'm not gonna have it.
Me either.
Yeah.
No, I don't have that many followers.
Take that one.
I do message people. I try to do like 10 to 20 messages a day if it's a good week. And yeah. Or like what I did with my last reel for Inspirator Homes this week. So I just sent it to a bunch of people and told them that they should go. And Lance and I are gonna be in the model home, so I was like, come see us. So I had a reason to like, I was inviting them.
You can collaborate with other businesses, because if you collaborate, like, they did a reel all together and it got way more. Because
Cause it went for all
everyone
of our.
was seeing it
Yeah.
and that tricked the algorithm.
Yeah, and I think with us doing that, we know that we all attract different people. So it's like, we don't mind doing content together.
There's no competition. There's plenty of business problems.
Do you utilize paid advertising on any of the sites? So everything you're doing is organic,
Yeah.
free lead gen strategy. That's what I
If
like.
you do pay for it though, don't pay for it through Instagram because they charge an extra 20%. You have to go into your Meta business account and pay for it through there, and then you don't get charged.
So do you get like the business from your ads? I think it depends on the types of ads.
What types of ads would you promote on social media versus which ones do you just keep organic?
So the ones that promote are lead generation ones, so like new listing stuff. If I do a reel for new listings, I'll put some money behind it and then I'll go to a landing page where it collects data. But I don't do the like personal ones. Even though I don't know that if you put money behind it, you're just gonna expand your reach. So it depends what your goal is.
Yeah.
Like if your goal is to just get followers, because usually they don't unfollow you once they follow you. So it's kind of like forever marketing. But if you want to promote that, put a little bit of money, but just don't pay for it through Instagram. Pay for it through Meta, or else I'll charge you 20% more.
That's interesting.
Another one, don't do it on your app, on your phone.
No, go on the computer.
Do it on the
Yeah.
computer because you get charged. Apple takes, you.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's
Apple
like
takes like
Apple.
30% more, so you have to, yeah.
What if you don't have an iPhone?
Not if you go through your Meta business account, then it doesn't charge you.
I don't know if you don't have an Apple, for your Android. I don't think that's an Android issue. I think that's an. Don't show off that you don't have those.
When it comes to this stuff, like, you guys are talking about stuff that I didn't even know existed, so I am, yeah.
I love it. How do you measure the success of your post? Like when you send it out there, how do you determine that was a great post, it did well? What does that mean to you?
DMs.
All right.
Close deals.
And comments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not about the followers or the views. It's about, like, we're doing it because it's not really, yeah, we're trying to provide value in return. We're trying to grow our business. Yeah, business, so.
Anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you, or just advice that you weren't able to work into the questions today that you want to make sure that the audience meets with?
Just post the content.
Yeah, be consistent.
Would you guys be willing to do a 1 hour, like in the cafeteria or here, where we like posted stuff? Like an action for us to do it and then go, oh crap, I screwed that up, and you can go, no, you do this, this, and this, and it's fun.
Or we could like even like plan out like a couple posts like together.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, if we could do like a workshop, like, yeah, would we all agree that that could be helpful for most of us? Thank you.
I love that.
That would be so awesome.
We'll definitely work to get that scheduled. Just remember the next 7 weeks. So we've got bold starts October 8th. Then we have an off week for business planning clinic. So everybody, yes, we're going to business planning clinic. And then for the next 5 weeks after that, it'll be bold on Tuesdays. If you're not registered for bold, we'll have Ignite. But you do still have 1 more week to register for bold. Social media is now a lead generation strategy that's also taught in bold. So I highly encourage all of you, get in that room, at least for first step to test drive. I believe that we're going into a value-based market. And I think that those who are not showing value, both in person at the appointment, as well as on social media, where all of our consumers are consuming content and media. Those agents who are not doing that are not gonna win in this market. So definitely be there. If you wanna get registered, come see Adrian. We're both wearing the purple shoes today to make sure that everybody is in the mood for bold. But we will make sure we get this scheduled probably December is when we can post that, maybe November. I think we have an open Tuesday in November, so I'll work with them. to do that. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us.
And Ben's gonna be at that workshop too.
Yeah.
Keep going on the email. Keep going on the email. There's some stuff left. There's the on the back.